This makes me absolutely, positively sick. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Katura and this is Nick. Today's video, this is one I've been wanting to do for a while and I just haven't gotten around to it and just didn't really know exactly what to say. But today's video is kind of like a warning for other farmers like us or other businesses or just anybody that uses Facebook Marketplace. This is a warning for you. And this is also the reason why we are not able to grow our farm right now. This is the one thing that is preventing us and keeping us from growing our farm and raising more chickens and raising more pork. So when we first started out selling our cuts of meat, we started out with a chest freezer, 3 stand-up freezers, and they were just like normal home freezers. They weren't commercial. And this one, which this one has been awesome. We got this one from a restaurant that was downsizing. I'm not even sure why they got rid of it, but we got that one and it's done great. It's a true. But then as the demand for our product started getting greater, we needed more freezer space. We started looking for something like these. Now they didn't have to be like this. Ideally, the best thing would be a walk-in freezer for us, but those are extremely expensive. We've tried to get farm grants to help us pay for it, but we haven't been approved for any of those. So we started looking for commercial freezers with more capacity to them other than our 3 stand-ups. And we were thinking about in the future, we might decide that we want to have a farm store. So these would work to display the food in a farm store. I first started looking locally and within like a 4-hour drive for places like restaurants, grocery stores that were closing down and that were getting rid of their equipment. Either they didn't call me back or they didn't have anything or they'd already sold it or whatever. So then I started looking on websites. I looked at Restaurant Equipment Supply. I looked at various auctions like restaurant equipment auctions and I did not find anything. So the next thing I did was go to Facebook Marketplace, which a lot of people use. After a lot of searching, I finally found some freezers that would work for us and that were in our price range. They were listed on Marketplace by Chad Payton from Surplus Plus out of Springboro, Ohio. And these are my messages with him. As you can see, at first, he was very responsive. He even sent me videos of the freezers from what I assumed was his warehouse, a list of all of the freezers that were available, the years, and the prices. But he still hadn't answered my first question where I asked him what store these came out of. I finally told him why I was asking because I had heard the ones from Big Lots were really good. And he said, these are better than Big Lots. I asked where the freezers were located. And again, he sent me a list of prices. And then he tells me I have 2 warehouses in Dayton, Ohio. I sell and deliver over 2,000 of these a year, all sight unseen, all over 6 states, which is why all units come with a 30-day warranty. He asks me which one we want, and I tell him we're not sure yet and ask about the power requirements. A couple months later, after we made sure we could afford to get the freezers, had room for them, and had the proper power for them, I message him to ask what the total would be for 2 freezers, 1 3-door and 1 2-door. I ask if they have auto defrost and if we could get a discount for buying 2 instead of 1. We talk about delivery and he says it would be about $200 to $300. He sends me another list of all of the prices, says they do have auto defrost, and then he says again, I sell 2,000 of these a year at these prices because they're clean, sanitized, tested. They come with a 30-day warranty. So then I ask, what do you do if something goes wrong within the 30-day warranty? Do you swap it out for another one? Send replacement parts, a repair person? He didn't answer my question that day. So the next day, I send it again and ask the same thing. He finally replies with this: I rarely deal with warranty issues, but when I do, I just swap it out. It's better, quicker for the client, and easier and cheaper for me to order the part and have it installed at my warehouse. We settle on a price for the 2 freezers, which was $6,000, and he tells me he will deliver them within 3 days. He texts me the invoice to my phone, and then on the invoice, right there at the bottom in black and white, under where it says $6,000 cash on delivery, it says 30-day warranty as of date delivered. I ask if he takes credit cards. He says there's a service fee. I say we'll stick with the cash option. And then we discuss what time he will be delivering. On the day he said, he comes and delivers the freezers. 3 days later, I text him and ask if he has the operating manuals for the freezers because we were having trouble adjusting the temperature. He asked what temperature we wanted at, and I said, we're not sure, probably -5, but we just want to be able to adjust it and know how to use the controls. I also tell him that the inside of one of the doors on the 2-door freezer is sweating, and I send him these pictures. But then it's crickets, and I don't hear from him again. I call him, he doesn't answer. Several hours later, I text him again, telling him that the door is sweating, and nothing. I call a couple times the next day. Then the following day, I text asking him what he's going to do about the door before we unload all of our boxes, and send him this video. This one is doing fine, but this one is not. This particular door. Now this one is okay, but this one is sweating like crazy. It's all over it. And it's dripping like crazy, and it's freezing just inside the door. You can see where it's getting ice. So it's definitely not working the way that it should. Again, no reply. So a couple days later, Nick calls Chad from his phone, and guess what? He answers. After talking a bit, Chad assures Nick that he's working on it and is sending us a new door to replace the one that's sweating, and that he would email us with the details. We never got the email and didn't hear back from Chad at all. So after a month, I text him telling him I'm going to have to contact Consumer Affairs or the State Attorney General's office or the Better Business Bureau if we don't hear from him. And I send him this video. I did go ahead and file a claim with both the Ohio Better Business Bureau and the Ohio Attorney General. Over the next year, Nick and I both would text, call, email every once in a while, hoping that Chad would do the right thing and make things right. I then had the idea to call him from another number, our daughter's phone, and of course he answered because he didn't recognize the number. He told me to send him our address and the invoice, which I did, but we never heard anything back from him. I found 2 more Facebook accounts of his, even though one had a relative as the profile pic, and messaged both of those as well. And still, no response anywhere. If you do a quick Facebook Marketplace search for a true 2-door freezer, one of the first ones that comes up is Chad's. As with all of his listings, one of the first things it says is warranty under the description. I'm not sure what kind of warranty it is, but it didn't help us at all. If you go to Chad's commerce profile on Marketplace, you'll see that he is, quote, highly rated with 4.8 out of 5 stars. And if you look at his reviews, you'll see that they're mostly positive, except for one that gives him 1 star, but no comment. But there's only 17 reviews. Remember how he messaged me more than once saying he sells and delivers over 2,000 of these freezers a year? With that many sales, you'd think he'd have more reviews. But what this doesn't show you are the reviews from people like me who were never given the option to make a review. The status on my listing was changed to sold, but I was not allowed to make a review. I never realized this about Marketplace, but if it's true that the sellers can pick and choose who they let give reviews, why do we even have reviews? Now these are Chad's current listings as of February 15th, 2025. He has 247 listings. That's a whole lot of people that he can cheat out of a whole lot of money. This is not okay. And not all of them say this location is Springboro, Ohio. There's actually several different locations. One of them even says Huntington, West Virginia, which is right down the road from us. But remember, he says his warehouse is in Dayton. So I guess he just does this so his listings will show up in more search areas. So while we're here, I guess I'll make one final attempt and send him a message on one of his current listings. But I'm not going to hold my breath. We did eventually hear back from the Better Business Bureau and the Ohio Attorney General. They both basically said the same thing, that they tried to contact him. They got no response from any of their communication. And that if we wanted to do anything further, then we would have to seek legal advice or legal counsel and take him to court. They did say that it would be on his record and they would keep that in their file, but what good does that do? We are very frustrated about the whole situation. It's very discouraging and we're pretty upset about it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is something that is keeping us from expanding. So we have $6,000 that's into these freezers, and that's $6,000 that's gone. Like, we barely got to use them. The first freezer that had the sweating door, it lasted about 6 months, and it eventually, the compressor broke. We had somebody come in and check it out, and they said that it would be about the same price as what we paid for it to fix it. That's not an option. So we had to take all of the meat that was in that freezer and put it into the other freezer along with our stand-ups and our chest freezer. Then the second freezer, it stopped working about 10 months after we bought them. We think it was the capacitor. Again, we had somebody else come in and check it out and look at it. They actually changed the capacitor and it's still not working. So we're not sure what's going on with that one, but it doesn't work either. So we have not gotten our money out of these, and we never will, because, we contacted a couple companies asking if they would be interested in buying the freezers for parts, but so far we haven't had any luck at all. When the first freezer went down, we caught it in time. We weren't as fortunate when the second one went down. I was getting ready to go to the farmer's market on a Saturday morning when I realized all the meat was thawed and it was around 60 degrees in the freezer. The last time I had gotten anything out of that freezer was 3 days before. Nick was in Bilbao, Spain that week with work, so I loaded all of the meat up in the truck and took it to the dump. At first, I thought I could throw the whole boxes into the dumpster, but there was a big gap between me and the dumpster, and I was afraid that I couldn't throw them that far and they'd end up on the ground. So I'd empty about half and then throw the rest in. If you don't know how the dump works, they weigh your vehicle before and after, then that way they know how much you threw away and how much to charge you. I haven't added it up on my paperwork, but apparently from the dump it says that we had 420 pounds of meat. I had made a list of all the meat that morning as I was loading it into the truck. I put it all into our square point of sale to see how much it would have been in sales. I had to throw away 269 items, which would have been $2,544 we would have made. I haven't told Nick how much it is yet, and I am absolutely sick. I know these things happen, but it's just so discouraging. Since there's really not much anything else that we can do about this, basically, if you all are wondering why I keep looking down, I'm trying not to fall into the mud or step out of my boots. But basically, the only thing that I thought that we could do is to share this in hopes that since we can't do anything about it, it can't be rectified for us, that hopefully we can help somebody else and keep this from happening to them. Because as a small business owner, as a small farm owner, this is hard, this is tough. We're not gonna be able to expand. We have no idea when we're gonna be able to expand because we can't afford a freezer. Final thoughts on this whole thing. Do not trust Chad Payton. Do not buy anything from him on Facebook Marketplace. And just be careful with anything that you buy. I really don't know what else we could have done or how we could have done anything any different. I thought it was all on the up and up, but unfortunately it wasn't. The goats are anxiously awaiting their feeding time. Aren't they cute? Hi. So, hopefully our next video will be a little more positive. It usually is. And until then, you all stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, and we will see you on the next video. Bye, guys. Okay, tell everybody bye. Say please subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one.